regional shareholding company. We also have the latest from a high-powered government team of investigators expected in Doha, Qatar today to continue probe into alleged fraudulent breaches in PDS acquisition of demand guarantees.
Also in this edition, Men's Gold CEO Nana Pia Mensah released at last from police custody today after an Accra Circuit Court reviewed his bail conditions. We'll hear from his spokesperson. And Foreign Affairs Minister expressed optimism the U.S. will lift its visa restriction sanctions on the executive by the next review.
What they are asking us to do is difficult because they feel that anybody they arrest who says they're Ghanaian, then they come within 24 hours. They are issued with travel documents. They even want us to issue a certain number of travel documents a week.
And in our Defend Media Freedom campaign today, we hear from family of former Tiger IPI investigator Ahmed Hussein Swale, who say they are worried about the lack of information from the police months after he was killed.
If you are being killed for just doing your job and no action is being taken, how will others feel doing the same job?
And in business, the new taxes outlined in the media review yet to take off despite Parliament's approval. We have details for you in 30 minutes.
Later in sports, Ghana's representatives in the CAF Confederations Cup, Ashanti Gold, set to leave Ghana tomorrow for Equatorial Guinea for their first leg clash in the CAF Confederations Cup against Akonangui FC.
We have all that and more coming up here in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Remember, headlines on Newsnight is brought to you by Eden Heights. Eden Heights, welcome home. Do join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp and Telegram. It's 0244 340 437. I am MFR Paul.
And my name is Evans Mensah. And in the latest twist in the PDS saga, questions are tonight being raised about government's decision to transfer shares owned by Ghanaians in the power distribution services to a new company. In a letter signed by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta on the 27th March this year, he requests a consolidation of the Ghanaian shareholding. He requests the transfer of the shares into what he calls a single, newly incorporated Ghanaian entity into which the initial Ghanaian shareholders, together with other Ghanaians not part of the original arrangement, will hold shares. Already, some names have emerged as having recently also acquired shares in PDS. The move has reduced the stake of some of the original shareholders, including TG Energy Solutions Limited, which used to hold as many as 28% shares in PDS. Now, Joy News is now learning that that firm's stake has now shrunk to 4%. We'll hear from Director and Secretary of the TG Energy Solutions shortly. But first, procurement specialist Kwabena Tabedu has criticized government for not following due process in its quest to alter the shares of a private entity.
A deal has been closed. A contract has been signed. Then a poison pill is thrown into the mix. Mm-hmm. On what basis? What is the locus for throwing that in? Because you see, if you have gone through a proper tender process and signed a contract, if you want to vary it, go back to a tender process. By sending this letter to whoever it is addressed to, that ensure that the shareholding is rejigged, it's a bit out of place from a professional point of view. Because it's as if you stage manage this process to meet the requirements, and now you are using the back door to introduce something else. It doesn't sit well in procurement systems. The SPV that is being introduced is going to be the new vendor.
Yes.
That SPV should have gone through the tender process to be vetted just like everybody else.
Well, Andy Ejapa-Mensah is MP for Sekondi, doubles as the Director and Secretary of the TG Energy Solutions, one of the partners in the PDS consortium. He joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Mensah, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Pleasure to be here.
Can you explain why there was a need for the finance minister to change the structure of the PDS shareholding?
Well, good evening to your cherished listeners. I don't think that the finance minister has changed the structure of the transaction. I was listening to the procurement experts that you spoke to, and I disagree fundamentally with the position that he articulated to the effect that government is commencing some tender process, or that if the structure is changing, then there's a need for government to embark on a new tender process. That cannot be the case because government is not changing the structure. The entity that government executed an agreement with is PDS. That is remaining. PDS is not changing, of course, at least until the investigations that are being conducted is concluded and we know where it is that this transaction is going or not. Now, what it is that has happened is that the government took a position that, look, the only rationale for us proceeding with this transaction, at least the Akufo-Addo government, negotiating with the Millennium Challenge Corporation to change the shareholding from 80-20 to 49-51, was that a Ghanaian entity or group of companies should lead in the majority on the transaction. Now, that was agreed. And so PDS, the consortium of PDS entailing the Ghanaian entities now hold 51%. The position of government is that that 51% ought not change at all times during the tenure of the transaction. And so in order to ensure that that is protected, that some shareholders do not switch camp and vote with the minority, the Ghanaian shareholding should be consolidated into one entity, so that at all times during the transaction, the Ghanaian block remains 51%. That is all.
But it also specifies that this arrangement will also allow other shareholders who were not part of the original deal to also buy stake going forward.
Evans, if you read the finance minister's letter quite closely, what it is suggesting is that at all times Ghanaians will hold 51%. Now, the consortium is a going concern. Okay, PDS is a going concern. It is entirely possible that tomorrow there will be a capital raising exercise that they are embarking on. Now, if the Ghanaian entities are holding the shares individually and they are unable to make up for the shareholding, obviously, what it means is that their interest will be diluted. What this structure does is to enable them to raise or allow the vehicle that is set up, the SPV, to be able to raise whatever capital that may be required in the future to still remain 51% in the PDS consortium. That is all.
And also confirm for me, in furtherance of that particular move, has that arrangement now been effected?
Well, I'm not in a position to confirm, but to my understanding, this conversation of how the structure should be going forward, the finance ministry engaged the parties sometime last year, held discussions with them with respect to how to preserve the Ghanaian 51% holding at all times during the tenure of the transaction, which we all know is 20 years. And the parties agreed that the structure that was being proposed by the finance ministry was the right way to go. And so I don't know where the speculation is coming from that there is some disagreement amongst the shareholders of the consortium. That is what has led to this suspension of the transaction. As far as I'm concerned, there was absolute consensus amongst all the shareholders, including the foreigners, that putting the Ghanaian shareholding, which are presently held in various units by different shareholders, into one vehicle and preserving the 51% holding of Ghana at all times during the tenure of the transaction was in the best interest of Ghana.
So has the original shareholding structure 10% to GTS Power Limited, Santa Power Limited 13%, TG Energy Solutions, which you are director and secretary of, 28%. Has that changed now?
I'm not aware that it has changed.
Because I've seen another document that suggests that other entities have now taken up shares in PDS. Can you confirm that?
No, I can't confirm because I haven't seen any document.
Is TG Energy Solutions Limited shares in PDS still 28%?
Well, as at this moment that I speak to you, I do not have any information to the contrary.
This is a company of which you are director and secretary. You don't know for sure if this changed?
Ivan, you know my present location, and as I said, as I speak to you, I'm not aware of any information to the contrary.
Because there's another document that is circulating now, and I just need to confirm this, that TG Energy Solutions Limited your share in this has reduced to 4%, correct?
Last Saturday, when I appeared on
Newsfile,
I indicated quite clearly that it's important for us to have cool heads to prevail in the conversation around this transaction. Because as far as I'm concerned, the decision that government has taken, particularly with respect to suspending and investigating the documents relating to the transaction, was important, and government ought to be commended for it. Now, subsequently, we've seen a whole lot of write-ups, speculation, half-truths, falsehoods being bandied about. And so it's important that we separate the chaff from the wheat and deal with the issues as they are.
And that's why I was asking you. One of those central ones.
No, I'm coming. Have you seen any document that has been executed? In any event, shareholding in a company becomes valid when it is registered, correct? Have you seen any documentation that says that the SPV that has been incorporated or is intended to be incorporated has shareholding that is contrary to what we know today?
I haven't seen it, but we've seen letters. But we've seen. I mean, the finance minister, when he sent that letter to Mr. Akoto Ampua, urged him to take expedited steps to make sure that this new shareholding structure in fact happens.
But even if you have a copy of the letter, that shareholding in there constitutes the 51%, which I understand would be 100% of the equity of the SPV when it is incorporated in the proportions that these various companies hold in the consortium. Because bear in mind that in the consortium they hold the 51%. But if an SPV is set up that holds the 51% interest in of the Ghana block, that SPV will be made up of 100% shareholding. And as far as I know, these three companies that are listed in that letter are the ones that are going to be the shareholders of the SPV.
Okay.
As I speak to you, I haven't seen any documents or correspondence or registration or incorporation documents that is contrary to what it is that is out there. In any event, like I explained to you, the rationale for the letter is clear. Let us make sure that no Ghanaian bloc dissipates their interest such that tomorrow we wake up and realize that one of the shareholders has divested his interest, even though I know that the shareholders agreement that was executed indicates that any transfer from a Ghanaian bloc ought to go to a Ghanaian entity or person. The rationale is that we don't want the Ghanaian bloc, for whatever reason, to, as it were, have different viewpoints or vote with the majority or the foreign bloc in any transaction that the entity would undertake. And it is important that that 51% is preserved at all times during the tenure of the transaction. And I think this is good for Ghana, and I don't see why people are making a lot of issues about the entire structure at all.
And very quickly, last week when the Formation Minister addressed a press conference, he announced that a high-powered team is expected in Qatar, Doha, by today, really, to continue its probe, particularly pursuing the Akut angle, the insurers. Do we know if that team has left and are already in Qatar?
I know that the team have left, but I don't know whether they are already in Qatar. I'm sure that as we speak, they probably will be in Qatar by now.
Okay. And yourself, because you represent TG Energy, government has given 30 days for this to be resolved. Is your
Absolutely, I don't have any doubt that, because this is an extremely important and sensitive transaction. Bear in mind that the more the delay is occasioned, consequences would follow. And it's important that the issues that have arisen is resolved as expeditiously as possible, so that government can take a decision one way or the other. Because issues have come up, and you have read letters that suggest that the alleged fraud may not be fraud after all, and that some non-receipt of premiums was the basis for the cancellation of the bond. And so it's important that all these matters are tied in properly, so we have proper closure. And so let us give ourselves the time that government has indicated to conclude the inquiry, and then take a decision going forward, so that this matter can come to rest. But I would only urge that the speculation, the misrepresentation, the comments, political spinning that is being put to this transaction ought to be distinguished clearly for people to know that, look, if it is politics that want to play, by all means, let's go ahead. But if there are real issues that require questions to be answered, why not?
I'm grateful that you joined us with your thoughts. That's Andrew Ejapa-Mensah, who is, as I've already indicated to you, MP for Sekondi, but also a director and secretary of TG Energy Solutions that hold 28% shares in PDS. And MFA, we know today the group Good Governance Advocacy Group Ghana, they have petitioned the special prosecutor, asking the special prosecutor to carry out a probe into this matter, to sanction. They're asking the special prosecutor to investigate the deal in its entirety and help expose all the perpetrators of this grand scheme against the state and the people of Ghana, to help the very suspicious Ghanaians who are becoming alarmed by the whole transaction get understanding to the real issues leading to these happenings. That's a direct quote from their statement, making allegations of nepotism, cronyism, and favoritism, as well as corruption in the PDS deal. They want the special prosecutor to investigate that, and they've sent a petition to Martin Amadou today.
Well, you're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM, away from the PDS issues, but we'll go to Kumasi shortly before we come
because
back to
still ahead, there is a crackdown on prostitution in the Ashanti regional capital. 36 foreigners, foreigners engaged in prostitution there have been rounded up and have been, from what you're told, repatriated. We're going to bring you an update on this story shortly. But first, though,
CEO of a Defiance Gold dealership firm, Men's Gold, Nana Appiah-Mensah, at last is a free man. He's been released from police custody. You know that the Men's Gold boss, popularly known as Nam1, was released a while ago after his lawyers managed to meet the bail conditions set by an Accra Circuit Court. You do recall also that the court at its last hearing had set bail at 1 billion Ghana cedis with 5 sureties with justification. But Nana Appiah-Mensah remained in custody as his lawyers were unable to meet the bail conditions. Now, last week, though, lead lawyer filed an application urging the court to reduce the bail condition to 5 million Ghana cedis. But today in court, the presiding judge ruled that the persons who have pledged to take responsibility if Men's Gold CEO Nana Appiah-Mensah fails to show up in court to stand trial must no longer show evidence of owning properties worth 1 billion Ghana cedis. Joseph Akable was in court and came through with this.
In terms of the concession that was granted them going forward, all what Nana Appiah-Mensah is required to do is that he's supposed to get 5 individuals who are gainfully employed to come over to the court. They sign the bail documents and then he walks away. So his lawyers, led by Kwame Okufu, told the court that Nana Appiah-Mensah is not worth the 1 billion cedis that have been set by the court. He again makes the point that it is simply an amount that cannot be reached by him, and neither can he get people to meet it because his properties have since been confiscated by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, same with his bank accounts that have equally been frozen. And so they have wanted 5 million cedis. They did not oppose it except to say that the court should decide. And in this instance, the court has decided accordingly. He wasn't actually brought to the court today. but the state prosecutors were present. So we understand that the process is that they need to get clearance and move him over from the BNI headquarters where he's being kept. He has to go about together with the sureties to the court premises at the registry where they sign the documents. And once those conditions are satisfied in terms of proof that they are gainfully employed, once they sign that, then he can walk away immediately. And that is something that we understand that the lawyers are very hopeful that within some few hours they should be able to finish with that so that he goes home.
So that's Joseph Kable there reporting from court. We know that he's been in custody since 11th of July and when he came back from Dubai after that case there. And then also he was picked up by the CID since he touched down, when he touched down at the Kotoka International Airport. Today, we're told that he's a free man after the bail conditions were reviewed by the judge today. Let's speak to a spokesperson for the Men's Gold boss, Niama Amatefio. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight, Niama. So where is Nana Appiah Mensah now as we speak? Hello, Niama.
Hello, Anefa.
I'm asking where Nana Appiah Mensah is as we speak.
Well, as we speak, he was able to meet the bail conditions that was reviewed by her leadership, Harriet Nakwilekwe. So he's out of police custody now.
So tell us about, we know that bail conditions were reviewed though, but tell us how difficult the process was.
In terms of the variation,
the 1 billion we are told, and then also of course the justifications were reviewed and all that. How difficult was the process after that ruling today?
Well, it wasn't difficult at all for us to get the 5 sureties to come and sign, and then the 1 billion monetary terms that the judge gave to us today to meet. As a matter of fact, we left the court around 11:30 a.m. As at 1:30 or thereabout, we've gotten all the 5 sureties, and then we, together with the CID, we went through all the documentations. After that, we went back to the court registry where he was brought to the court, and then the 5 guarantors signed to the document. He also came and signed, and then he was released.
He's a free man now as we speak, even though the case will be heard again in September. But what is his main priority now as a free man?
Well, I did not get the opportunity to speak to him after we met all the conditions. But I can tell you for a fact that he's a tiring man. He's tired at this point in time because don't forget that he left the shores of Ghana in September and he got to Dubai in December to go and collect an amount of money that was owing the company. And when he got there, he was arrested and arraigned before court for almost 6 months that the case was in court. He was in detention in Dubai. He came back on the 11th of July, and then the 12th, he was arraigned before court again, where he was remanded for 2 weeks. Then we went to court again on 26th, and the bail conditions were given to us. We were not able to meet those bail conditions, so he was kept in police custody for another week again, which means that he's been in police custody in Ghana for 3 weeks. None that has gotten his spirit. I'm sure that he needs to rest. So I'm sure he will take some time to rest. After that, we'll hit the road again.
He needs to rest, but customers, I'm not sure, would rest. So I'm sure he should be saying something to his customers. We know the case is still in court, though, and you're saying that he's thinking of resting at this point?
Well, I'm sure the customers will agree with him that as much as there's a tax to be executed, a huge one, of course, to pay our customer, which we are very mindful of, we'll definitely execute that. But for the meantime, I'm sure that the customers will even agree with us that our chief executive officer needs to rest a bit, after which, of course, we are going to arrange for a news conference where he will speak to the media, the general public, and then the customers as well, where he will outline the way forward of the company.
But by the way, how long will that rest period be?
Well, I can't tell you, but I'm sure maybe a 2 or 3 days rest will be fine. And then after that, I'm sure we're going to bounce back again. Because don't forget, on the 3rd of September, we are going back to court again.
Very well, Niama, we are grateful for your time there. That's Niama Amatefio. He speaks for the Men's Gold CEO, Nana Appiah Mensah there. You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. Your thoughts and comments are welcome. It's via WhatsApp and Telegram on 0244 340 437. Now let's do some porous borders. You know the series that Joy News has begun. Early this year, red alerts were issued to Ghana about possible terror attacks on the country following bomb blasts in neighboring Burkina Faso that claimed several lives. Now experts have warned that the many unapproved routes to Ghana make attacks by terrorists easy. In the Joy News series titled Porous Borders, our reporters visit border communities to find out about the levels of security there. In the following piece, though, Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that only 2 out of the over 100 border communities in the region have security posts.
Kweku Bawane is a career diplomat and former external intelligence operative stationed in the Middle East. He was one of 4 Ghanaian external intelligence operatives embedded in Lebanon in 1972 to study or cover the problems of terrorism.
Our border runs around almost about 200 miles, where you have to pick it from the Tumu area and come all the way to Hamele. Then from Hamele, you come southwest along the Black Volta, all the way down to Taliagodo and all the way down there. And I'm saying that if I get 1,000 people and take them to any of those borders, all the 1,000 can actually go across and, each one finding a route to get into, Burkina Faso. I'm also saying that the delineation, of the border has not been well done. Nobody actually knows where the latitudes and longitudes belong. Nobody can actually pinpoint where Ghana ends and where Burkina Faso takes over.
Apart from the 2 official borders located at Tumu and Hamele, there are over 100 communities located close to the Black Volta that are without borders. Residents and other travelers use these unapproved routes either on foot during the dry season and boats during the peak rainy season. Chief Superintendent Abdullahi Zakaria is the Deputy Airport Commander of the Ghana Immigration Service.
We wouldn't say that our borders are porous, and we deploy officers based on intelligence.
The Ministry of National Security, in collaboration with the Airports Regional Security Council, RECSEC, in its bid to ward off suspected terrorists from the country, deployed contingents of military personnel from the Airborne Force, led by Major Fatau Abdullahi, is stationed at the eastern corridor of the region. 3 dozen police personnel from the Foreign Police Unit, FPU, have also been deployed to undisclosed locations in the region to complement the work of the Airborne Force. Kweku Bawane, however, has doubts about the strategy employed to ward off suspected terrorists from the country.
Where we are sitting right now, we are in Wa. From Wa to Burkina Faso, it's just 25 minutes. In 25 minutes, you are in Burkina Faso. You pass through my house, you go to Dormo, you are in Burkina Faso. By any time we are talking about Burkina Faso, people in Wa are taking to Hamele, and that place is so porous. How many security vehicles are on that road? There's almost nothing. Recently, when there was a support system, we had a Foreign Police Unit and some vehicle. Where are they? They have been withdrawn to Accra. What sort of security is that? But every district in the Upper West region needs not less than 10 pickups.
For now, the borders are porous. Constructing a fence wall will be too costly and not on the agenda of the government. However, deployment of more intelligence and security officers equipped with the state-of-the-art equipment to communities lying close to the Black Volta will maybe put a seal on the porous borders.
They are not well resourced. You go to them, they have no vehicles. When they have vehicles, no tires. When they have tires, there's no petrol. Anytime there's a problem, the politicians want to put pressure on the policemen. It will never work. Give the security personnel the tools, they will do the job.
Reporting for the news, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
And you're live on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Evan Spencer, and I'm here with
MFR Paul.
And a message is on our WhatsApp platform from you. This one from Musa says, government is not being transparent in this PDS matter. The scandal is organized by the looting brigades of this government to defraud the taxpayer. That's a view from Musa there. And George is joining us with business. And when we return from business, we'll bring you the story from the Ashanti Regional Capital, where there's a crackdown on prostitution. 36 foreign prostitutes have been rounded up and repatriated. We'll tell you why, and bring you also the latest in our series as far as the campaign on media freedom is concerned. We'll hear from Ahmed Swale's family, who was saying tonight that they are not being updated by the police as far as the progress of investigation is concerned. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, the new taxes outlined in the media review yet to take off despite Parliament's approval. We'll get you reasons. And value of mobile money interoperability transactions for half year hits 217 million Ghana cedis. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office insurance. And First Bank, that is the bank that actually understands your business.
Promo wey dey ayede. Sabi gusu yusu mi mumu no. If you say MTN echimache no, e dey to table. Brand new Samsung 65-inch UHD Smart TV. Na brand new 2019 Hyundai. And I feel 3,000 Ghana there. You should go say mono. MTN Momo. Still, Misaka, the journey of 1,000 smiles. Yashasi 10 years ago. And to celebrate this milestone, MTN give you away exciting prizes in the MTN Momo Attend promo. Yeah, you use Momo no. You could win one of the 2019 Hyundai i10 cars. Yes, some of Samsung Smart TVs for baby. And they up to 3,000 cedis e-cash every month. And a grand prize, 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe in the MTN Momo Attend promo. Into sign it on and they keep using your MTN Momo. Now when it big, if it's happening, you see August only on Ghana's best network. Dial *120#. Now check your points. Terms and conditions apply. Just Momo it. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us again. From the 1st of August to the 30th of September, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302 764 209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Honey, I need to get some.
But I don't have cash on me. Let me get some fuel quickly and let's go.
And how are you going to get the fuel? I thought you said you didn't have cash on you. What is this one?
My Puma card.
All it takes is a card. The Puma card allows you to buy fuel cash-free from all Puma energy filling stations. You can use your Puma card with any Visa point of sale and ATM across the country. The Puma card also works on mobile money. You get amazing discounts when you fill up with your Puma card. So register for free and get your Puma card instantly at any Puma filling station.
And you only got one for yourself, eh?
Yeah, would I have had my peace of mind?
Oh, thank you, honey.
And where are you going?
I'm getting something from the shop real quick. I need to test the card.
Puma card. Cash-free convenience.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. And actually, we'll start with our story where by December 2, 2020, 4 million properties in Ghana will be registered under the National Digital Address System. Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia actually revealed this and explained that they will boost government digitization agenda and improve the country's data system. He also argued that this would help the chances where businesses actually would use that data to help actually get loans from banks. Dr. Bawumia revealed this at the launch of the Ghana office of the World Business Angels Investment Forum in Accra. He believes that this will form or help efforts to help move towards a cash-light system in the country and help grow the economy. He believes that this would also go a long way to support efforts by government to improve revenue mobilization to ensure that the country get what it needs to grow the economy. Let's move on to other stories where the new acting managing director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Eko Afezi, is promising to introduce new measures to make the market the preferred place for raising capital. Mr. Afezi was recently appointed as the acting managing director of the exchange. This follows the decision of the current boss, that is Kofi Amwa, to actually retire. Now, speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Afezi said he would be looking at reviewing the listing requirement to also help bring more firms on the market. He believes that going this way would ensure that the country actually positions itself to attract more firms onto the market and ensure that this place is good for people.
Make sure that it's a preferred destination for investments. What have we done? We've created 3 markets. We have the main equity market, that is for the shares of big companies like Unilever, Standard Chartered Bank, etc. Then we've created a Ghana alternative market for the smaller companies, where we can have local, medium-sized companies to also get on board. Then the Ghana fixed income market. If you want equity, you can get equity. If you want bonds, you can get bonds. So sitting in Boku, somewhere, Kamale, and you buy treasury bills or government bonds, and you want to sell before maturity, GFM is there for you. That is the Ghana fixed income market. And that is what I want to achieve. A person walking down the street with funds to invest will first of all think of the market. Shares, bonds, short-term instruments, etc. All together, one marketplace.
Eko Afezi is the new acting managing director of the Ghana Stock Exchange. And the new taxes outlined the media reviews yet to take off. Now, this is despite securing Parliament's approval last week to start charging the tax. So what does this challenge? Answers in this Business Desk report.
Joy Business is learning that Parliament is yet to send the various tax laws for the President's assent. Under the country's constitution, all these documents must be submitted to the President for it to be legally binding. It is not clear for now why Parliament is delaying in sending these documents to the President for his approval for the Ghana Revenue Authority to start implementing these taxes. Government last Friday secured Parliament's approval for the new taxes outlined in the mid-year budget. These include the Communication Service Tax Amendments Bill to increase the talk tax from 6% to 9%, Luxury Vehicle Levy Repeal Bill to withdraw the taxes on luxury vehicles, and the Energy Sector Levies Amendments Bill to start placing some levies on petroleum products. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, is optimistic that the new tax measures would help improve the challenges with revenue mobilization for the country this year. According to the revised budget, government is now hoping to mobilize about 58 billion cedis in revenue by December this year.
And that was a Business Desk report. In a related development, the Institute of Fiscal Studies has noted that it doubts the government would even meet the revised revenue targets set out in the supplementary budget. Dr. Said Boakye is with the Institute of Fiscal Studies.
For the mid-year, the government plans to raise only 400 million additional, and that money is linked to the new taxes. When it comes to introducing new taxes, the government is privy to certain information that if you are outside, you do not know. They might have done certain micro-level studies to see those involved in tax, involved who are going to pay the tax actually, that we do not know. What we analysts do when it comes to projection is that over a period of time, you can track historical development of tax performance, tax revenue performance. We can link it to certain fundamentals like GDP growth, inflation, and others. Then you'll be able to know the trend, and you can see whether what the government has projected is accurate or not.
Dr. Said Boakye is with the Institute of Fiscal Studies. Now, the value of transactions done on the mobile number interoperability for the half year witnessed some significant increase. It reached 217 million Ghana cedis ending June this year. Now, this was based on data we have picked up from the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System. This actually represents about 756% increase from what was recorded last year. Introduced in May last year, the mobile number interoperability allows subscribers to undertake mobile money transactions across the various network with little charge. RGSC is Chief Executive of the Ghana Interbank Payments and Settlement System.
If you look at the rate at which mobile money was progressing, let's say it was progressing at a linear rate, increasing steadily. You see that as soon as mobile money interoperability was implemented, there was a jump. And then it started increasing at a geometric rate. It became steeper, which means that the interoperability has created a condition which has increased usage.
Archie Hesse is the chief executive of the Ghana Interbank Payment Settlement System. Tomorrow, that is the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, will launch the GH Link dual card that allows it actually to use both the eSwitch card and GH Link on the same card. Let's get back to earlier story where the Vice President is talking about the fact that by December 2020, 4 million properties in Ghana will be registered under the National Digital Address System. Let's hear him.
Bring collateral. Can they verify the ownership of that piece of land you want to mortgage? Sometimes it's very difficult even for banks. By the end of March, God willing, next year, we will have completed that exercise. We've completed the national addressing system, the digital addressing system. So starting on the 8th, the Nation Builders Corps will be moving throughout the country. They've been given up to December. Every district in the country, the Nation Builders Corps, I think they are going to be about 15 to 20,000 of them, moving to put the digital addressing on all properties, because we feel that it has to be done. So at least 4 million homes should be tagged by the end of December this year.
The Vice President was speaking at the launch of the Ghana office of the World Business Angels Investment Firm, that is WAF. And that's all for Business on Newsnight.
Joe, thank you very much.
Superior services, your success our portion. 10 good years of loyalty, service with integrity, protective of our Ghanaian brand. 10 years of excellence, 10 years of loyalty, your success our portion. Oh yeah, your success our portion.
Your success, our passion.
Get 100% bonus when you top up airtime with Vodafone Cash. Dial *110# to top up now. If you know, you know.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Thank you, folks. On my A list today, show some love for Contractor EB. So, Contractor, what do you think about the country's changing skyline?
Oh, send them down there, Yuma. Across skyline, they change you, papa.
Wow. Contractor, don't you get worried when you hear of buildings collapsing?
I'm not for an answer on Tassam. It is the lackability of using low quality product.
Please explain why.
Yeah, cement is no quality on your gasem. Village of Fefu it was built with gasem. Says the gasem is your construction. Osi ho pumping. She N1 KJT market. Kotokana Kumasi Airport. Cape Coast Stadium. Atwabu gas project in na. Gasebo. Messi what the quality. You know what is quality? Gasem. 3 cement grades. Greater value. Gasem, the nation builder.
And you're still live on Newsnight, and more of your messages. Joe says, I'm so convinced with the explanation given by the MP for Sekondi on the 51% shareholding of PDS. Joy FM should have called him earlier. With basic understanding of corporate law, one can tell the criticism from the procurement expert is untenable. This one from Atta says, porous borders, may God save us from these external attacks and even deadly disease carriers.
Shifman Atonsu says it's good that the court has reduced the bail conditions for Nam1, and I'm glad that he met the conditions reviewed. I believe that the men's school customers are now happy. Earlier in Tema says the mystery surrounding the ECG PDS saga cannot be resolved by a high-power government delegation. We need an independent institution to probe the alleged fraud. The government cannot investigate itself and come out with the truth. Kofi Seydou says any attempt by the Akufo-Addo administration to clear those who are found culpable of this gargantuan PDS deal will be resisted by the might of Ghanaians.
Someone says the police have disappointed the families of the missing girls and in the entire nation. Why now operations here and there at places the accused person has stayed before to exhume bodies? This ought to be the first thing a standard police service should have done in the investigations. Those are a few of your views on the stories that you've heard so far here on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the family of murdered Tiger Eye PI investigator Ahmed Hussein Swale say they are worried about the lack of information from the police on the status of investigations. They are demanding the speedy arrest and prosecution of culprits.
Now, Ghana lost its place as Africa's best-ranked country in the last World Press Freedom Index. The index made specific reference to the killing of Ahmed Hussein Swale, noting that, quote, there is not enough protection for journalists in the country, and quote. Maxwell Agboba has been following up on the status of investigations with the family of the murdered investigative journalist as part of our Defend Media Freedom campaign.
Hundreds of people are gathered at the Medina Cemetery. Some young men here are busily digging soil onto the remains of Ahmed Hussein Swale. His closest confidant, Anas Ayemaya Anas, is also here. One of the Islamic clerics who officiated the burial ceremony cannot hold back his tears as he says the last prayers for the deceased. It has been 6 months since Ahmed Hussein Swale was killed some meters away from his family house in Medina. I am back at the place where he normally sits with his friends to chat. I've met his brother, Ibrahim Kamilu Tahidu. He says there's a communication gap between the police and the family now.
The gap between the family and the police keep widening by the day. No communication flow. Sometimes trying to get the police to get some information is difficult. Though from time to time, they'll call you, they have picked up somebody, you come for identification, and that ends it.
He says justice must be served to protect media freedom as he talked about how Ahmed Swale started receiving threats after his cover was blown.
Justice must quickly follow. And this is totally sitting on the right of journalism. Indirectly, we are killing journalism in our country. You are being killed for just doing your job and no action is being taken. How will others feel doing the same job?
I've met another family member who wants to remain anonymous. Ahmed Swale was responding to his call when he was killed. He became a subject of interest for police investigations.
I called him for him to come so that we could take the child to the hospital. So he was responding to my call while the incidents happened. I was the last person he could talk to through phone call. We have waited for long. We didn't know that it would have been taking time like this. But anytime you try to talk to them or you go there, they are giving you stories upon stories. The investigations are still going on.
Anas Ayemaya Anas, in a BBC interview, described the killing as an attack against journalists and not an individual.
This is not about the Tiger Eye person. The life of an investigative journalist has come to an end. It could happen to any other journalist in this country. And that's why I kept on saying that this whole fight is against journalism and not personalities or organizations. Not just Ghana, everywhere. Sometimes when you have a right and you feel you have arrived and you don't do anything to protect that right, they take it back from you. And as journalists, we should keep pushing the frontiers of free press.
Joy News is yet to get a response from the Ghana Police Service after we contacted them for an update on investigations and other claims made by the family.
And that's part of our campaign. Remember that hashtag Defend Media Freedoms. Join the conversation. It's on Facebook and Twitter as well. And in that same breath, and MFIU, I'm sure, followed this or unfolded by the weekend. The graphic reporter Della Russell, who was assaulted over the weekend in a church. We now know that the Graphic Communications Group and they lodged a formal complaint of assault against 15 congregants of the Glorious Way Church at Sakumono, founded by Prophet Bedu Kobino. She was in the church covering protests that led by some women's group who were protesting against some comments the pastor had made that they found to be tribalistic. The graphic report today that the police have reacted to the incident and explained that Mrs. Oklu was whisked away to the Sakumono police station to save her from potential harm. The public relations officer of the Accra Regional Police Command, Deputy Superintendent of Police Ifya Tenge, has told the graphic that some church members called the police after Ms. Oklu refused to hand over her phone to them. According to her, the police rushed to the scene, rescued Ms. Oklu, and took her to the Sakumono police station. She said at the police station, the journalist did not hand over her phone and also did not write her statement, stressing that she insisted on speaking to her lawyer first, of course, and she had the right not to hand over her phone, which is her private property, which the congregants attempted to seize because she was simply doing her job. And the case is now being reported, a case of assault against 15 congregants of the Glorious Way Church at Sakumono. This job that we do, Hans.
Evans Mensah. Very worrying times for Ghanaian journalists.
Yeah, and that is why, ladies and gentlemen, we need to push this campaign.
Very
because imagine a day without news, without radio, without newspapers, without TV. We all just strike.
Absolutely.
Just imagine what will happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe Ghana
Quiet
should
on the radio
experience
and
it
television.
for,
Maybe
for
we
people
should.
to really understand
Maybe we
what
should.
we are talking
Maybe
about.
we should. What do you have in the sports headlines, Hans?
Well, Asante Kotoko and Ashgold are Ghana's reps in the Africa Interclub competition. And for Ashgold, they are set to leave the country tomorrow for Equatorial Guinea for their first leg clash against Akonangui FC. CEO of the side, Frederick Achampon, says the miners are motivated by the club's history in the Confederations Cup and the need to better Ghana's coefficient in the continent's interclub rankings.
We are ready. We prepared, even though we had a short period of preparation if you compare to our opponents who have been in preparation, not only because I think they have some sort of competition ongoing in Equatorial Guinea. We believe that we have enough good team to be able to do well in the game we're going to play. Do not forget that Ashanti Gold is the first Ghanaian club to have played in the final of the Champions League in its current format. And so we have record, we have history in the CAF Interclub competitions, and we've been off a bit in recent years, so we want to put our name back on the football map in Africa, and so that's our ultimate aim. Do not forget that Ghana, we used to have two places for the Champions League and the Confederation. Our performance in there, and I think that Asante Kotoko and ourselves have a great opportunity to earn some points back for Ghana, so that going forward, we'll be able to earn our 2 slots back.
So Frederick Achampo is the CEO of Ashanti Gold, and barely 48 hours to the close of the transfer window. And of course, Evans Mensah's Manchester United having been able to tie up the deal for Paulo Dybala. Romelu Lukaku is still a Manchester United player.
Who says we want Dybala?
You don't want Dybala.
Oh, Christ.
So you
hear the story?
You want Lukaku to stay?
We pulled out. No, we don't want him to
stay. You don't
want
Lukaku to stay?
We don't want any of them.
I understand you are following Mario Mandzukic.
You
don't want him either.
Because, you see, when you're rich, everybody is associated. People have been using our name to,
So you're not signing anyone? You don't want to
sign Maguire. We might get one more person. We might get one more person.
Which player do you desire?
I don't know. I don't work there.
Okay, right. We'll see how it goes.
Thank you very much. Now, 36 foreigners engaged in commercial sex work in the Ashanti region have been repatriated after the Ashanti Regional Security Council embarked on an exercise to clamp down on illegal activities of prostitutes in the region. The Regional Security Council has launched this massive crackdown on prostitution and operations of prostitutes in Ashanti region. And the RECSEC says that their activities are becoming increasingly a nuisance in the region and that it remains illegal. Now, Chairman of the Regional Security Council and Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah says the council will continue to collaborate with security agencies to flash out the prostitutes. Listen to this report. My colleague has been following this and also spoke to the RECSEC at the maiden press conference organized by RECSEC in Kumasi. Head of Immigration, Michael Kwadade, gave an update on the other exercises as well.
48
foreign counterfeit money dealers were arrested in Kumasi on the 10th of March 2019. I'm happy to inform you that the service has repatriated all of them. The counterfeit money dealers that were arrested comprised Cameroonians, Ivorians, Guineans, etc. The third statistic: 16 Nigerian prostitutes were also repatriated after they were arrested in Konongo by immigration officers and policemen on the 29th of January 2019. We've also repatriated 20 Nigerian prostitutes in collaboration with the police this year. The service has also repatriated 52 foreign nationals who were employees of QNet in the Ashanti region. I hope you've all heard about QNet operations. Lastly, I wish to say that most media houses have provided us with airtime regarding the media campaign that we've started. We've been to a lot of radio stations. We appreciate what you've done for us. Thank you for the help.
Let's go live now to the Ashanti regional capital. My colleague Mintoya has been following this. Ohiming, is there our understanding that the 36 prostitutes they rounded up have already been repatriated?
Yes, Evans. 16 of them were picked up in Konongo and 20 others in Kumasi. All of them have been sent back to their countries.
And there's a focus that the nationality of these 36 are all what, Nigerians? Clarify that for me.
Yes, they are all Nigerians, according to the immigration boss, Mr. Michael Kwadidi, who briefed the media today.
And there's this, it appears a focus. I mean, there are other aspects of this that the immigration and RegSec is focusing on, but it appears there's been a tremendous focus on prostitution there. Is there any reason why?
Evans, according to the chairman of RegSec, Mr. Simon Osei Mensah, prostitution is not only a nuisance but also illegal to be practiced by these sex workers, and beyond what they have been doing, arresting and prosecuting those involved. Now he's saying that they also concentrate or turn their attention to patrons who patronize their services. So we are looking at men who probably in the night go there to patronize the services of these commercial sex workers. And the worry of the RegSec chairman is that even minors who are less than 16, those between the ages of 14 and 16 are also involved. And that is where he says that we cannot allow minors to be involved in prostitution whilst RegSec looks on. So he says RegSec want to clamp down the activities of prostitutes within Kumasi and Ashanti region. Evans.
Thank you very much, Ohiming.
Now today, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Shelley Ayoko-Butchie, has been meeting the press, and amongst others, he's been talking about the sanctions, the visa sanctions imposed on Ghana by the U.S. According to her, in some time to come, he says that will be reviewed and that will be lifted. We can listen to her.
Initially, we were told that it affects, I think, is it the G1 visas that cover our diplomats and their staff. Because usually when diplomats are going on posting, they are able to take some key staff. So for those ones, there's a ban on it. So they're not issuing any visas to that category. Then they said that it covers the legislature and the executive and our relatives. But subsequently, we have found out that when they say the executive, the Americans mean everybody on government payroll. So that covers some 600,000 people, from the relatives, my relatives, the minister's relatives, the president's relatives, all of us.
Well, that is a very important clarification. 600,000 people affected by this ban, and the government says that they are confident of reviewing in the coming days.
told the media about the Gambian situation. You know, the killing of the 44 Ghanaians in the Gambia. He says there have been calls for government to take legal action against the former president, Yahya Jammeh, believed to be behind the killings. Madam Ayoko Botry says an advice from the Attorney General would determine government's move on that particular issue.
And more in our subsequent bulletins, also on myjoyonline.com. And that's it for Newsnight tonight. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am MFA Paul.